Is your mother overly conscious about what others think about her? Neighbors, the church people, family members, co workers, anybody, everybody. Does your mother deny her own feelings? She's never able to accept the fact that she's actually angry when she's angry. She's still in denial about it. She's never able to express that she's actually sad. You've never actually seen her cry real tears about a sad situation. When something drastic happens in your life, a marriage, a divorce, getting fired from your job, something crazy, does she talk about how it makes her look or how it makes her feel rather than how it makes you feel? Does your mother act jealous of you? When you discuss life issues, does she bring it back to herself? Does your mother want to control your choices? Do you find it difficult to be a separate person from your mother? Do you feel like your mother knows the real you? Do you feel your mother is critical of you? Do you feel like you're a slave for your mother? Does your mother hurt easily and hold grudges for a long ass time? Do you feel responsible for your mother's illnesses or her stress? Did you have to feel physically responsible for your mother as a child? Have you consistently lacked emotional closeness with your mother? What's up, YouTube? It's your girl, Mommy So True, here to share another video with you about surviving narcissistic abuse. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on today's video. I am talking about the mother. Dear mother. This is a very sensitive topic because no one wants to come off as if they're bad mouthing their mother. You know, we appreciate our mothers, good or bad. At least I do. I've learned to get to this point today. This video is so deep for me because the root of my channel started from birth, started from the phases of being raised by a mother who was not mothered properly, a mother who was not loved properly, a mother who did not understand what love to a daughter was, unfortunately, a narcissistic mother. And this video is to talk about really things that lets you know that you have a narcissistic mother and you're not alone to feel the emotions that you're feeling, because it's such a battle. It's such a battle. I remember growing up and having issues with my mom where people had to step in, outsiders had to step in, and they would hear my side of the story, they would hear her side of the story, and then after I would have to go back and talk to her, she would always say, "I'm your mother, how can I hate you? I'm your mother, you should be able to talk to me." And that freaked me out because I was like, you've never made me comfortable enough to talk to you, ma'am. You've never made me feel like I could come to you. I have had to face the honest reflections of my life patterns. 5 years ago, I discovered that my mother was a narcissist. And when I started doing the research about her, back then I was only focused on the mother-daughter dynamic. And I think that's why I lacked so much knowledge going into a relationship with someone and marrying someone just like my mother. And gosh, I tell you, so many incidences with my ex-husband where I was like, oh my God, this feels like living with my mom again. I definitely went through my phase of learning that I grew up with a narcissistic mother. And at first, it was heartbreaking because I was like, how do I address this? Like, how do I deal with this? And for me, what worked for me was going no contact, moving far, far, far away. It was heartbreaking because I have younger siblings, which we'll talk about that in another video, because my biggest topic on this channel is really about the maternal battle of narcissism, the generational aspect of this, and how it's going from mother to mother to mother to mother, you know, father to father, you know, it's generational. It's in the bloodline. It's happening by default because our mothers were raised by narcs and our mothers are uneducated by narcs. But now we live in a time where we know about what's going on. We are learning it. We now have these tools and we're utilizing it to learn these people for a reason. And it took for me to understand the sickness of my mother to learn to forgive her, which we'll get to that video too one day. The biggest thing I had to realize back then, 5 years ago through therapy, was I grew up as a daughter whose mother was trying to live through her. As a result of that, I became this overachieving girl my entire life. We'll talk about that down the line, where it was like a competition between my sister and I. I'm the oldest child of the family. Being programmed to always compete for my mother's love based on having A's and the highest GPA and getting praise about my grades became who I was. And it took going to college to expand the knowledge and to know that I needed to break that belief and I needed to stop competing with myself and stop trying to always break my back to get this love from someone who was incapable of giving it to me regardless. And I was tired of being loved based on what I could give her. In my realization that I was dealing with a narcissist mother, I had to come in terms with the reason why I was so emotionally unstable. I struggled with a lot of things as a child, and into my adulthood, that shit blew up. And the biggest thing was dealing with my emotions. I have carried a huge emotional burden my entire life. There's so many out there now, 7, 6, 10, 12 years old, carrying a huge emotional burden because of a parent that is starving them of something that they need to be able to flourish as a healthy adult. The harsh criticism in the households, talking to children like they're animals, telling them they can't do this and they can't do that, and they're too fat for this or too skinny for that, or too short for this or too tall for that, or too small for this or too big for that, tearing down their self-esteem, starting from a very young age, screaming at them for really the smallest things, domestic violence that these children are enduring, or that you and I endured as children. In my country, one of the things they do to you as a girl for punishment. I'm from Ghana, West Africa, and a lot of you may know of this, but they put pepper in your vagina if you do something bad. And that happened to me several times as a kid. And for me, it played a huge role in how I felt about my body and how I felt about sex. It made me feel dirty. It made me feel, I just felt wrong whenever that was done to me. I understand tradition is tradition and things are done. And my mother may never really understand what she was doing when she did those things in those moments. And I was getting that type of punishment for things like oversleeping and missing the school bus, forgetting to sweep the kitchen before I went to sleep, not cleaning the bathroom when she told me to do it right then and there, things like that. That's abusive behavior to a child, emotionally and physically. And in the country where I come from, they don't give a damn about none of that. Mental health is like, what? Narcissism is through the roof. I grew up my entire life with these disapproving voices in my head. I was never confident about myself. I was never confident about what I wanted to do with my life, where I wanted to go, who I wanted to be. Wasn't sure who the fuck I was. I changed my major 10 million times. I changed the way I look physically 10 million times. It is what it is. It's you learn these survival mechanisms, and you learn to express your emotions in different ways when you've been abused like this. This is such a painful legacy of distorted love, y'all. Always feeling emotional emptiness with no explanation. People can literally see it on your face that you're sad and you could never explain it. That was me growing up. I was like that literally until my mid-20s. When you have a mother who wants you to live through her, who believes that you're just an extension of herself, it pressures you as her child and as that daughter to never approve your own self. You're always looking to approve the self that she's trying to create out of you. And that only teaches you unworthy love, y'all. It makes sense that we fall into the nest of these narcissistic men and women because we have been taught to accept unworthy love from our parent. The narcissistic mother has taught you to please others and forget about you. Not giving yourself enough credit when you need to. Like I mentioned before, that overachieving daughter. We'll talk about that more later on. Always feeling the need to be on the top, which eventually will destroy personal relationships. So in many ways, being with that narcissistic mother, you pick up those unhealthy narcissistic traits. These are things that I had to really unlearn. I had to really understand why I was this way, why I had certain traits, and I had to really work on my character to be opposite of what I grew up seeing as a daughter of a narc. These narc mothers think that the world evolves around them. They play victim so fast. Don't catch them in the lie. Oh, now their chest hurt. Oh, now their back hurt. Oh, now they got a headache. Oh, I need to go to the emergency. I'm not feeling good. All of a sudden, always got amnesia when you bring up some shit from the past. Now they don't remember. Oh, it actually never happened. We have to heal from the root of the problem. For me, the root of the problem was realizing that my mother was a narcissist. And now, 5 years later, realizing that narcissism is not just in a parent. It can be in anybody in your life. But understanding why I've always had low confidence and low self-esteem is a key factor in this healing journey for me. And that's one of the reasons why I could not allow myself to stay in a marriage more than the 10 or 9 months that I did. Because I value myself too much. I have learned to love myself. I have learned to build confidence. I have learned to increase my self-esteem. I have learned to forget those beliefs that have been installed in me that I am not good enough. I can now stand here and tell you that I truly believe that my mother did not know what she was doing. I don't believe that my mother did not love me. She just did not know how, because she's not capable as a mother. You know, as time has gone on, she's now much older, and I pray that she has become better for my siblings, but you guys know these narcs don't change. I have a big story for you about how I've been dealing with my siblings in the long distance and the messiness of how she's trying to destroy me with them. And, you know, at the end of the day, I always tell y'all, I've learned to become prayerful and let God control it. And things have been happening and I'm always secured because I am a vessel. And I'm so confident in my life now that the narc mom could never do anything to bring me down anymore. I'm continuing to heal because I am going to be a better mother to my children. And again, this is not to down my mother. I love her. That's my mother. You only get one of them. But it took a very long time to be able to stand here and do this and say this. But this is just part one of this. We're just getting into the depthness of the narcissistic mother and daughter dynamic. Thank you for watching, you guys. I'll be back with more. This is Mommy So True. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on today's video if you can relate. You might still be living with that narc mom. You have probably dealt with that narc mom, still dealing with that narc mom. And you know what it is. This thing is deep. It's deeper than this is just a basic video about this. But I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about it some more because I live with the feelings and the aftermath of that trauma every day of my life. It's a part of us. It will always be a part of us, whether we heal or not. It's a part of our story. It's a part of our journey. And it is what it is. It's your girl, Mommy So True. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.